I was admiring the antique stove. I mean, look at this thing. So incredible. And then I opened up the warming closet, and I had no idea 100 years ago they had digital clocks. It's just amazing. And I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, how did he do that? It's connected. The water's flowing out of the big one. If you didn't tell me what you did, I don't know if I would have known how you did it.
I know you wouldn't have. That part's actually really cool because it has the illusion that it goes on endlessly.
People say that all the time. If they look at it, how far does that go under this whole thing? And you just say, yeah, it does, sure. It comes out the other side.
Hi, I'm Greg Wittstock, the Pond Guy, and welcome to Living the Aquascape Lifestyle. We're on a beautiful day out here in Chicago with the VP of Construction, Brian Helfrich. That's you. And we've got a 6-7-year-old water feature.
Yeah, we put this in a few years ago. It was a collaboration with a couple other guys. We used Mike from Collegiate.
Hardscape guy.
He did a lot of the hardscape, and then Matt with Wasco did a lot of the plants and stuff. I love working with those guys because everybody sticks to what they know best.
So we were driving out here and Brian was like, I am so excited to see this.
Well, we haven't been here in years, and I remember having so much fun building it, and she gave us free reign to kind of do whatever we wanted, and start here, and wherever you finish is up to you.
You would never expect this from looking at the front of the house. I mean, I'm walking into an oasis.
It's hard for customers to visualize how much better a pond's going to get over time.
Yep.
Right? It's the one thing you can actually purchase nowadays that actually appreciates in value.
It's not like anything else that depreciates.
Look at how this tree has now grown out over the rock.
Not only do we have a little jet coming in right here.
So this was to give it the illusion that it's kind of like this mountain spring coming out from this area here. It's kind of carved out the earth, leaving back behind the stones it couldn't move.
My favorite part of this is I came back here and I saw this seating area, but it's behind the water feature. Brian added this little waterfall right here.
So if you look at this up here, there's an upper pool and it splits in two ways. 80% of it feeds that big waterfall that faces towards the house and the kitchen window. The other part comes this way. So it's kind of this extra bonus waterfall. And so this overflows, goes down into a small little pond. There's like 4 aqua blocks down in there, and then there's a pipe as an overflow that carries back this way and then goes back out through that little spring we saw.
This is my favorite part of this water feature.
My favorite part is I love water features that take you on a journey. So these stone steps lead you come up this way, and there's this whole little secret garden, and this was really thought out, like the placement of these spruce trees, the redbud, and look at how peaceful this is. Just to kind of sit back here. It's super quiet. You don't even necessarily have to see the pond, but you can still hear it. The placement of these spruce trees too was really also to hide out the fact that they have a epic sized backyard. I mean, they have a huge backyard over here, but the height of these makes the water feature feel way more intimate and much larger than it would if it was placed in a football field of a backyard.
So Brian, when you originally came back here, they were thinking the corner with a koi pond, and how did it end up into a pondless waterfalls in the center?
Well, it's funny because when we first met with them, 8 years ago, the pondless waterfall was the focus. She always knew she wanted maybe some fish, and so this area was actually left open over here with the idea of maybe adding another pond, and the reservoir was sized big enough that this could flow into there. So that's a 1,500 gallon pondless reservoir.
When we came here, she said she's never filled this up. It just flows all year round because of the size of the basin.
And so with the 1,500 gallon reservoir, it makes the pondless feature 100% self-sustaining. They never ever have to add water to it.
And another nice thing about having the large reservoirs, you're going to get this kind of water quality always because of the fact that so much of the water is not exposed to the sunlight.
So one of the biggest design challenges with this project was obviously this bridge. I mean, that is a massive, massive
Probably
bridge.
1,500 pounds.
It's one of the largest stone bridges we've ever set. To be able to get that to span out and get the machine in the right position to drop this thing in place without our smaller machine tipping over was obviously a challenge. But we actually had the dingo holding that side of the bridge with its buckets, and we were holding this side as guys got shims and stuff underneath.
Perfectly flat, perfectly stable.
You notice the water's kind of deep. You know, it's
gotta be
it's
at least
a good 18 inches. Well, halfway through the project, she said, how much would it cost if we maybe want to just add some goldfish? And sure enough, her daughter added a bunch of goldfish. So goldfish in 18 inches of water have been overwintering now for over 8 years. But I saw some babies in here, which not only means that they're living, but they're reproducing.
And also what's funny is they didn't think they wanted fish.
Yep.
And of course they love the fish.
Everybody wants to fish. Feeding fish in a stream would be difficult, right? Because you drop the food, and because the stream is always moving, all the food would just go over the top. So this is just a simple little ring made out of some tube. It's tied off, you can see with fishing line there. But the fish feeding ring keeps all the food in an isolated area, so the fish always know where to come and get their food. So this plant over here, Greg, is a clematis vine. And clematis historically is always planted to go up a trellis or up the side of a house or maybe trail up some kind of dead tree or whatever. If you don't give it something to climb up, it'll spread as a ground cover. And so when this thing is flowering, to actually see the big giant purple flowers that come off the clematis vines as a ground cover is a neat trick.
So my favorite one was the little waterfall that came from nowhere in the back right by the fire pit. Brian's is the secret garden where you just discover new things. What's your favorite part? Let us know your favorite parts on this water feature.
See these lines in here? We guessed that these probably went through quite a bit on the rock. It took us a long time to set this rock and get it to the right water level, but if I open this up, you'll start seeing more water come out through this.
I love it.
Isn't that cool? So this one had to be set exactly at the right elevation to make sure that this pool came through this little crack and gave them that extra little fall right there. Boom.
And here's what I love about that. Brian put this in 8 years ago and he still remembers that because we care. As artists, we get into our work. That's called getting into your work. Hey buddy, good job.
Cool. Wanna go see another?
Let's go. This is a historic house that they originally built their first pond and then we rebuilt it, right?
Yeah, so they went and bought a kit back when we put everything in 2 boxes. We still put everything in 2 boxes, right? The 2 boxes. They went and tackled it themselves, you know, battled with it like a lot of people did, even the way I started, doing it wrong, and then said, hey, we want to do more with it, so they invited us out.
And now you're gonna see what we built. It's pretty cool.
The best thing you said to me was that this pond, you know, as it's grown, it really has the illusion that it's always been here.
That was the idea. We wanted something that looked like it, you know, the house is 1891, like it's been here forever, like you walked in and you just were in the woods and came across this pond. So it took your design to make it fit in, like the way it goes underneath the patio and everything, design it, and then everything, we wanted everything to kind of grow in around it. So it just looked like it wasn't created.
We don't do the plants, you guys do the plants, and that's a huge part of it.
It's the decorations on a Christmas tree.
I mean, that Japanese maple, when it turns red, has got to be the most magnificent picture ever.
What do people that come here for the first first time say when they see this, because you've got a historic home and then you come out here and you've got a spectacular water feature.
People will walk in through here and ask if this has always been here, because it looks like it's something that wasn't created.
I love, of course, the landscaping. When you don't know where the water ends and the land begins, and that's coming from the plants overhanging.
Right.
I love how the biofalls comes out. You can't even see it. It doesn't, people think it could go forever.
That's
you know,
the
back
idea.
there.
It looks like it was natural with the earth.
But you know what my favorite thing about this pond is? My favorite thing is your little porch room. Sitting in that porch room, I remember the last pond tour, I was sitting in there like, oh my gosh, it's a great reading room, a great little nook. And so the view from inside the house is so important, because even outdoor loving people spend the majority of their time in their house. So that little porch overlooking this waterfall, overlooking this pond, I think is the #1 thing I enjoy about it.
Brian, how did you come up with that?
To bring it underneath?
Yeah, that this would be.
We do it a lot with decks, right? So a lot of people have decks in their backyard, and the idea of bringing a pond up underneath the deck always makes sense. There was the opportunity to do it here, so it's really just kind of adapting some of the things we've done with other people's backyards and making it unique in your own.
So the fact that you and your wife sit out here, have your coffee, read the paper, talk, and everything else, that's the point of a water feature.
We're in a neighborhood, a busy street, planes going over, whatever, that we can be out here and it feels like we're, what, out in the woods somewhere?
Yes.
Or in the jungle?
So we just walked into your kitchen and you said you just had this restored and you added these windows.
Right, we used to have one small window, and the idea was we wanted to open this up so that, once again, we could see our pond.
And hear it.
And exactly, so you come out here in the morning, open up, and this is what you hear.
So we always say, you know, customers go through 3 ponds in their lifetime, and you guys are on your 3rd feature, but tell me about your experience the first time around. Like, how did you guys get into this, and what did you do?
Well, we bought one of your kits, the Aquascape kits, and we built a pond ourselves with the neighbors' help, which I'd never do again because it killed my back. But much smaller, and we didn't know, so it was really shallow. And then we had fish in there. Then all of a sudden we realized that, you know, we were just feeding the herons. We'd come out here early in the morning and there would be a heron swallowing one of our prized fish. So we realized, you know, obviously something has to be done, and we contacted you guys and said, you know what, we have to redo this. We're not going to do it. Come out, design something. And obviously it has to be deeper, and we haven't had a problem since with the fish, thankfully.
I don't want to discourage people from wanting to try to do this themselves, but what advice would you give homeowners if they wanted to tackle doing a project like this themselves?
If they want to, get a lot of help, because it's a lot of work. It's a tremendous amount of work. Build the pond deep enough if you're going to have fish, things like that.
So 2 feet or deeper, and
At least, yeah. If a heron can't stand in there, it's not going to eat your fish.
Sure.
And that's a mistake I think a lot of people make.
My favorite part is 100% the well. We really went way under. I didn't realize how far we actually got on our knees to, you know, dig underneath the foundation of the overhanging porch there. But because it is a porch, it allowed us to get underneath that far. But so they saw us at the Flower and Garden Show, and we had done this custom drilled out piece of weathered limestone and said, can we take this and bring it exactly the way it is into our backyard?
I never would have even envisioned that pondless. And how does this work? How are we going to make something like that work? We're not out in the country somewhere. We're in a neighborhood, a very busy area, and this is what you guys create. So we love it.
And we love our customers that love our water feature. So if you like this stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and share these videos so more people can see what living the aquascape lifestyle is all about. Thanks for the hospitality, buddy.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it, guys.
I love my job.